Blessed Mercoledi Moment, September 2nd, 2020. You might wonder why I'm sitting here on this chair, because usually I offer these Mercoledi Moment reflections from the center here of the altar on that little blue star. And I am able to stand up and wave my hands and all of that. But today I'm sitting on the chair where I usually sit, where the presider usually sits for Mass. But you may be wondering, did Father hurt his back? Did Father break his leg? And the answer is no to none of those questions. But rather, our microphone system we have been working with in view of the live streaming that we're trying to organize so that we can do here. And we've been working with our microphone system, and it just kind of collapsed this afternoon. So I'm sitting here so I could be closer to Lissa's camera, and so that I can be heard and understood and manage our time together. Because things like this happen. And I was thinking as we were faced with this dilemma of the microphone system not working, and by the way, it will be repaired for our Sunday celebrations. I was thinking, wow, there was a teacher that I had. His name was David Power, and I think I've mentioned him before. And whenever we would go on a retreat, he would always say to me, "What is, is. What is, is." And I was thinking about that today, because oftentimes we don't want to accept that what is. And so I was rustling around, and if we had those blooper moments with Carl, we were blustering around with Carl, wondering why the microphone wasn't working and all of that stuff, and we were trying other inputs and they were just exploding. It was a mess, because I didn't want to accept the fact of what is. And there's great peace in that, I think, because to be able to say with David Power, or to say in every situation, not only this small situation with the sound system, what is, it's just another way to say, thy will be done. Isn't it? Thy will be done. What is. So I'm grateful to David Power, but that in the middle of all of this thinking in preparation for this Mercoledi Moment, I have an app on my phone. You may want to try it. It's free of charge. It's called We Croak. I don't think I've ever mentioned it before to the Mercoledi Moment viewers. We Croak, all one word, and you can get it as a free app downloaded on your phones. And then 6 times a day, out of nowhere, you get a notice to read a quote that reminds us all that we eventually will croak, or we will die. It's one of those wonderful ways of memento mori, we call it. And sometimes you see the saints holding a skull, like Saint Jerome or Saint Mary Magdalene. They are holding skulls to be reminded that life is short, that death will come. But today, in walking over here, putting this together and thinking about this Mercoledi Moment, I got a We Croak tweet, and it says the same thing as David Power. What is. It says the same thing as Jesus. Thy will be done. It says this, and it's by John Milton, the famous British author. It says, to be blind is not miserable. Not to be able to bear blindness, that is miserable. Let me repeat that one more time, because I think there's a lot of wisdom, Christian wisdom, spiritual wisdom into that, even with the fact that because the microphone doesn't work, that isn't miserable. But not to be able to bear the fact that the microphone doesn't work, now that gets me all upset. That makes me miserable. So, to be blind is not miserable. Not to be able to bear blindness, that is misery. That is miserable. check out the We Croak app. I think you might like it very, very, very much. Because this wisdom goes in line with, I think, what we're doing as we're coming to the end of this summer. Theoretically, September 1st was the end of summer. And now we are going into fall, and school will be online, and all our students are online. And that's not in itself miserable. But not to be able to bear that inconvenience, to bear that reality, that's where misery lies within us. When we fight against what is, that is, we become miserable. When we refuse to say the words that Jesus says to us to pray at the Our Father, thy will be done, that's when life gets miserable. And so even as these wonderful bells ring here, the 2 o'clock hour, as we're recording this, I'm sure you can hear these bells. And we ring them in the neighborhood. We ring these in the neighborhood on the hour and on the half hour. It's like a public instrument, musical instrument. And here, one, and here's the other one, two. There you go. So it's now 2 o'clock. You can tell when we're recording this. And it's kind of like, wow, this public musical instrument reminds us that what is, and what is most that is that it's all changing and all passing and all impermanent and all out of our control and all something that we cannot manage, but we can then create an inner attitude of mind and heart to accept what is, so that we can say what is, and manage that. And we're no longer miserable. What is. I remember my mother was cooking. She was making a special kind of sauce. It was going to be with snails. I forget the name of the word of snails in Italian. She used the word escargot, but it's not escargot, that's French. So she was soaking the live snails, and she was soaking them in water, brine and salt water, overnight. And my dear mother and father were doing this together, cleaning them and putting them in the brine. And they were alive, because that's the way they have to be. And they forgot to put the lid on the pot. I got up early the following morning, which was Sunday morning, because this was for a special treat for our Sunday pasta dinner. I got up early in the morning to go to church, and there all of the snails were all over the kitchen. They were on the walls, on the ceilings, on the philodendron plants. There they were, all over the place. And I remember calling, "Ma, Dad, come on down." And my mother, she was not upset. I was very upset. She was not upset. She says, "Oh, well, wouldn't you want to get out if you knew you were going to be boiled up?" What is. And so may we, no matter what comes this fall, if the pandemic keeps going up and what's happening, By the way, I was tested, just to let you know, the other day I went and got the test in the mouth, and I was negative, because I feel like I'm responsible, and I'm going to go regularly, because I believe that now the tests are available. I'm going to go regularly because I'm with the people all the time with communion. But no matter what happens, microphones don't work. What is. Life hands us lemons, you make lemonade. And if your snails come out of the pot, what is, thy will be done. And to say, as John Milton said so beautifully, to be blind is not miserable in itself, but not to be able to bear the blindness, now that's misery. May the Lord God, may Christ give us the strength to accept what is, that is, and therefore radiate peace, even when all those snails are all over our kitchen walls. May Jesus Christ be praised. Happy Mercoledi Moment. Happy September.